What's up, everyone? We got a new face. I'm pumped for today's episode. How we doing, boys? How we feeling?
Dude, I'm excited for this. They have
Yeah,
no clue who this guy is right now. It's great. I can't wait.
Oh
nobody knows who
my.
I am.
I know.
Before you introduce yourself, Greg, we want to tell everyone real quick just how like special this person is that's joining us. Uh we actually met 2 years ago, 3 years ago, actually.
3 years
Holy
ago.
crap.
Three.
3 years ago, 2019, we all did a summer camp called Camp St. Thecla. I've never been there. They've known each other, Greg and Brandon, for I don't even know how long.
10 plus years at this
Yeah,
point.
10 plus. Yeah, definitely.
And I was just this little no-name dude coming in, Arab boy going into the South. And next thing you know, I'm best friends with these two guys. And it's been blessings ever since, man. COVID kind of put a halt on everything, but this is like a brother to us. This is brother to me for sure. And we're just super glad to have you on here. He's been our number one supporter. He's been watching every episode. If we don't post on Monday, he's like, "What's happening, guys? What's going on?" What's
Very true.
He's
very true.
He is the definition of our first fan and telling all of his buddies. So we encourage you guys to follow Greg's lead. Tell your friends, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Greg does it all. But Greg, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself? Like where you are in life and what you're up to?
Right now, I'm about to graduate college, so I'm more into the college sports side of things than some of what y'all talk about. But I love hearing what y'all talk about either way. But as you can see, repping my college, Mississippi State.
Heck yeah!
Respect that.
But so I love sports, kind of all types of sports, really. Some of the ones that you don't always see. In fact, I'll talk about one here in a second that
I'm
you don't
so
always
excited.
see. But yeah, a lot of different sports. One of my most favorite sports is racing. And when it comes to racing, the pinnacle of racing is Formula One. So let me ask you, do either of you know anything about Formula One?
We have
Woody knows a lot less than me. I know a little bit.
0%.
Yeah.
So Brandon
I know the
5
general
to 10.
concept of F1 and stuff, but overall, like, that's about it.
Okay,
And like,
so-
I know we were talking earlier this week, and I was like, listen, give us the crash course. We're dummies on it, but we want to learn and we want to know it because I know it's such a big sport worldwide. So
Yeah,
and we want everyone else to learn too.
Yeah.
Because if we don't know, then that means the vast majority.
But
don't
before
fully know.
we get into it, I want to ask you one of our stupid little questions that we've had the previous times.
Shoot
What
it.
kind of potato would you pick if you were the one to pick it?
Oh, how to eat, like which potato?
How would you
whatever?
have it cooked?
Yeah.
How would I
Fried?
have
would
it
you be
cooked?
Yeah.
Oh, so I thought about it when I watched the pod, and I really agreed with the waffle fries. Which one of y'all said waffle fries?
I'm pretty sure I said waffle fries. I think.
Yeah.
I think it was lower on my totem pole because I feel
It's a
like
southern thing.
we brought in breakfast like fries too and like mashed potatoes. So like waffle fries was your gut reaction, which is good because you follow Brandon a little bit.
But my number 2 though was potato logs. Have y'all ever had those?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Woody has no clue what those are, I don't think.
Zero.
Oh,
Woody is low.
imagine like an extra large
Woody's like,
French
I
fry.
don't-
Like,
It's like a potato wedge.
log.
It's like a potato wedge, but
Potato
even
wedge.
bigger.
yeah.
But even bigger.
I need to go to the South. I need to move to the South. I just need to be there because you guys looked at each other like, yep, that makes sense.
Yep.
To me, this old northerner right here doesn't know that
Nah, it's okay.
we make it do.
No, I respect both those. I respect waffle fries or potato log. I respect it.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah.
Now,
So,
give us this
crash course?
F1.
Yeah,
give
let's
us
do
this
it.
F1 action.
So yeah, I'll go ahead and start with the tracks. Most people think of it just as racing. So the tracks in F1, they're usually around 3 miles long, each one.
Okay.
And they're full of twists, turns, and then they have straights in them. It's like no track is the same at all. In fact, sometimes they'll literally just go block off a street in like a big city and then name it a track. Like a big famous one is in Monaco. So
that
just-
one I know of. That's the one I know
Monaco.
of.
That's one of the most iconic tracks ever. And so they literally just block off the streets and race down them. And these the tracks kind of define the cars. I mean, these cars, if they're going through a lot of turns and a lot of braking zones and a lot of straights. They have to be fast, but they also have to be able to slow down and accelerate very quickly. In fact,
Right.
these cars that they use, they can go from 0 to 60 and then back to 0 within 5 seconds. And if you think about it, your conventional road car, your little Camry or Kia or whatever it might be, usually goes 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. And these are
Right.
going 0 to 60 and back to 0 within 5 seconds. So like they're very fast cars. Just some information about the cars. They all use a V6 turbo engine, which is literally like if you took a Prius engine, made it bigger and put a turbo on it, that's what these cars are using. And they usually get around 1,000 horsepower. It's hard to believe. It's very hard to believe, but it's a lot of engineering that goes into them. They cost hundreds of millions of dollars. And, but yeah, it's insane. The fuel
Holy
system
crap.
is completely different. It's a lot. When you look at these cars, you would never think that much engineering goes into them, especially every year they have to make a new car. Each team makes a new car every single year.
For that much, I did not know at all.
Every
Why-
single
why
year
is
they have
that?
to. It's
Yeah.
because regulations change.
Okay.
Like this sport is different than all other sports. It's not like they keep the same rules or they might add a rule every now. It's like literally every year something changes. And so
Gotcha.
the cars change depending upon them. And actually this year was one of the biggest changes. They completely changed regulations. The cars look completely different. I don't know if you guys have ever seen an F1 car.
Yeah,
They
I've
have
seen
like
that F1
the
car. So
they
I've
have
seen
like
an
the
F1.
weird looking wing in the front and in the back. So those look completely different now, but those are actually some of the biggest parts of the car. They provide a downforce, which is so how a plane has lift to go up, these cars have force to go down and stay on the ground, which
Okay.
allows them to go through high speed corners at 150 miles an hour at a 90-degree turn, stuff like that.
Who's
Also,
making these? Who's making these before you keep
yeah,
going?
I'll go through some of the teams. So right now you have Ferrari they made their car.
Okay.
Mercedes, you have like Aston Martin, you have McLaren. Those are just some of the big name groups.
do
But,
they have more than one car, or is it like each car
each
company has one
team-
car?
Each team uses one car but has two drivers, or so like two cars but they're the same car,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
a driver in each car. So each team has two drivers, but then some teams will buy parts from like different suppliers. Like right now, Ferrari makes an engine and Mercedes makes an engine, and probably, I don't know off the top of my head, but I think it's around 8 of 10 teams use a Ferrari or a Mercedes engine.
Gotcha.
So it's
Okay.
a lot of mixed match, a lot of sponsoring, but it's great because these engines are completely different and they work completely differently. So each car is completely different.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but yeah, these tracks, as I said, they're like 3 miles long, which means they're doing between 50 and 70 laps on each track, and it's in about an hour and a half.
Okay.
So like just puts into perspective, each lap's around a minute and a half, a little less sometimes depending on the track. And 3 miles, yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, that's fast.
It's very fast. And their top speeds are like 220 miles an hour, give or take. Now in a race, they get around 200 in a race, but the cars themselves can go around 230. And but yeah, because of that, long tracks, a lot of turns, they have to get rid of their tires probably every 10, 20 laps, which, in NASCAR, have you seen, they'll just do a pit stop, change tires, throw them on, and they're gone. The tires are all the same. But in Formula One, one of the biggest components is each tire is not the same. So you have soft tires, you have medium soft, you have harder tires, you have extra hard, stuff like that. And each tire compound kind of does something differently. The harder tires, usually you can drive farther, but not as quick because you don't have as much traction. The softer tires provide more traction, but you can't go as far. So like it's a big
Okay.
strategy game depending on tires and stuff like that. But speaking of tracks, so the US is hosting 3 new tracks soon, or 2 new tracks. One they've always hosted. So there's a race in Austin this year, There's
Okay.
also a race in Miami, which is the first
Oh,
race ever in Miami. I know it's in May. It's very exciting.
Hmm,
it's in May.
really?
Miami.
Really?
Are
Oh
we
wait, but
having a
listen to this.
reunion? Are we
Listen to
having a
this.
reunion?
But next year, around Thanksgiving, they're doing a night race on the streets of Vegas. I know.
We're gonna have to talk about this one outside the
This is gonna have to
podcast
be
because
offline.
yeah, yeah,
Offline.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to that, Brandon.
I'm
Yeah.
intrigued. We're gonna
Yeah.
get back to that. Okay, wow.
So yeah, very
I'm
exciting.
now I'm
Very
now more
exciting.
interested in the sport. Like I went from like here to like here, just
Yeah, I
knowing.
mean that's
Yes.
the point. The
Wow.
point is they're trying to get this sport into America because Americans don't know anything about it.
Yeah, we know
And
NASCAR, and that's about it.
yeah, and it's
Right.
nothing like NASCAR at all. And but yeah, the teams right now. So right now it's you got Ferrari, as I said, Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren. Those are all the big teams. You also have other teams that are like kind of buy-in teams. You have one called Alpha Tauri, which is a fashion brand that's under the contract of Red Bull. So like it's almost random, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And many of the teams are like that. But right now, as I said, Ferrari has their own engines and Mercedes has their own. In the first, so far, there's been 3 races. And you have Red Bull right behind Ferrari, and then Mercedes is kind of lacking. But
Okay.
these Ferrari engines are really they're outperforming everybody in the field. And these drivers, they're all pretty new. They're all within, I would say most of them are under 24 years old. I mean, they're
Oh,
very young.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm old. Great. Thanks.
But yeah, the Ferrari driver, I think he's 24, and then the other Ferrari driver is like, oh man, I don't know his age, but pretty young. And so just it's a lot. It's actually a very physically demanding sport. I mean, people
How
think you
long? How
just
long is
sit
their
in a
like
car.
season or like their
Oh yeah, it goes
whatever you would
from
say it is?
this year, I think March to December,
Oh,
and
Okay.
then they have from December to March to build another car. Yeah,
Oh,
it's a quick turnaround. It's very
it
so
takes the
like
World Cup 4 years to build a soccer ball, and it takes them 3 months to build a new car.
that costs like $100 million too.
Phew.
So,
and
but
even to get into that season, is there like a playoff? So like you say March from December, is it like November, October, then it gets into like the playoffs, or is every race kind of
no,
how
every
does that
single race. So there's a point system. You get it's like first through 10th gets points
okay.
depending on and place gets you different points. And so yeah, it's literally just every race, depending on where you place, you get points. At the end of the year, you get so many points, and that's overall points is the system of who's first,
Wasn't
second.
last year's like final race between two people like one of the craziest like
Yeah,
ever?
it really was. That's honestly why I'm glad I was into it because they were tied in the very last race. So it was race winner wins the championship. And it
Wow.
was and that actually that race had more views than the Super Bowl, which
That's what
is
I heard. I was like, I watched that race, but I wasn't really sure what I was watching. But I was like, I heard the hype. I
yeah,
was like, I might as well. So yeah, but that's insane.
it was a very good race. But it also from that race we found out a lot can go into the racing that's not just car and driver. There's a lot of rules. There's a lot of regulations. I mean, it's down to everything. You have to
Yeah.
be under a certain weight. And like, there's a lot of rules when it goes into racing, which takes a while to learn. That I'm not going to get into all that. But yeah, it's very exciting. So right now, basically, third race in, Ferrari is on top, which is that's my team. So I'm kind of happy.
Okay.
But
Who's your favorite driver?
my favorite driver is the second Ferrari driver. His name is Carlos Sainz. His number's
Okay.
55. So yeah, that's my favorite driver, just because he's holds a record for the most points scored without winning a race. So he's kind of like the underdog.
Hmm.
He's the best second place person ever. Is what I'm
Yeah.
hearing.
Well, his time is due. So I'm kind of just
Okay.
waiting on it. And the other guys, the other Ferrari driver is my second favorite driver. He's in first right now in the overall yearly
Ranking.
scoring. Yeah, ranking. And last year he finished like sixth, I believe. So it's a big jump for him too. So everybody's kind of excited. But for Red Bull, the guys who won last year, their car. So right now they've only finished. Their number one driver has finished one of 3 races. So like
From crashes or
no, it's from reliability problems.
oh,
So it's
Hmm.
that's what I'm telling you. This sport can change in like the snap of a finger,
that's
and have
crazy.
the person who's winning the world championship doesn't even have a car the next year. So yeah, it's a lot to.
So a lot of it's built on the driver, but also like the actual team itself, like
Yeah,
the I
The
guess mechanics
engineers
and whatnot.
behind it.
Yeah, everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
A lot of it is the construction and the engineering behind it, because that's what makes or breaks the car. You
yeah.
can't have a driver without a car. So
So Greg, me and you are both engineers, right? So is basically F1 coming out and saying like these are the constraints that you have to play within. And then everyone takes that into their own consideration and they can build and modify a car, giving
Yep.
more to maybe I don't know.
yeah, so
Okay.
you're exactly right. F1 basically says, here are the regulations, here's what you got to deal with. And then you have different departments in engineering. You'll have like an aerodynamics part department. You'll have like a powertrain department, which is engine and kind of like how everything runs. And you'll have like reliability department, making sure nothing's breaking, stuff like that. And it's a lot that goes into it. A lot of people that never even see the track that are working on it. So
Man.
it's
And how do they
huge.
find these drivers? Like, I guess, like, how do you get into this?
So
You
it's
know what I'm
very
asking?
similar. It's very similar to like most sports. So you have like minor leagues and stuff like that. It's actually there's a Formula 2 and a Formula 3, which are kind of like
I never knew
the
that.
children of Formula 1. So like many Formula 2 drivers that win end up in Formula 1. But it takes, I mean, it's a process to become a driver. You have to be doing that since such a young age just for the experience. And then you get sponsored, then you get to Formula 3, then you get to Formula 2, and so on. But it's a very long process for that.
And how many people are in each season, I guess? So there's like
So
X amount of teams that have 2 drivers per.
yeah, so right now
Okay.
there are 10 teams, 20 drivers. And 2 years from now, or is it 3 years? In 2026, they're going to have 2 more teams join. And we don't know if it's going to be 12 teams or if it's going to be they're taking over other teams. You're going to have
Okay.
Porsche and Volkswagen are going
Oh.
to join. Yeah.
Oh,
So right now, the only top car manufacturers you see are like Aston Martin, Mercedes,
The like
McLaren,
luxury cars so far. So
Ferrari.
Volkswagen
Yeah,
coming
most of
in is
them.
going to be kind of like a break
big
in
deal.
of the
Is
sport.
BMW in it?
No, they're not in it. But
Oh.
like you used to see Honda used to be in it, but
Okay.
then again, they also make engines for Red Bull. So Red Bull's been using Honda engines for 4 years now, I think. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of.
It's a lot more into it than I knew. Like I didn't realize there was so much like that went into the cars because I had no clue they switched every year and whatnot. That makes
Oh,
it
yeah.
more
It seems
interesting
to
because
me like a more engineering sport than anything. Like
yeah,
you
It
have
really
the
is.
driver is only like a 20% part of the job
Which
in
is
terms of the team.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is one of the trophies they do is like there's 2 championships every year. You have a drivers championship, and then you have a constructor championship. And the constructor championship is basically how many points did your car score, regardless of the driver. So like
I
there's 2
like that.
drivers, and
I
like
love that.
if each driver only scored half of the amount of points, but yet summed they have more points than any other team, then you win the constructor championship.
Yeah, so you might not win, your driver might not win, but if your cars play second and third in every race, you're going to
Yeah.
win. That
Which-
makes a big deal because it gives
That's how you
credit to
get-
the people
yeah.
who actually built and without them the races wouldn't even happen. So
Yeah, and that's how you get sponsors too. The construction championship, because that's where
So then,
most of it is.
so then, say for example, me and Brendan are on the same team, right? My car crashes because that's probably the one that's going to crash regardless of F1 or not F1. It's probably going to be me that crashes before Brendan. Am I out for the season? Is that kind of the protocol,
just-
or do they have like 4 or 5 on deck? They just sub them in and out.
No, so if you crash your car in Formula One, I'm telling you, there's so much money into it. They could usually have it ready the next day.
so it's like NASCAR. If you crash it, you're out for that race, but you're going to be
Yeah.
ready by the next race.
But like, say if you crash in qualifying the day before, the chances are you'll have a car the next day to race.
Must be nice having that much money.
Well,
Is it because they have it on deck, or they just have so many people on the job that they could just turn it over like that?
It's so many people on the job, and they
Wow.
probably have spare parts with them. Like they don't just fly one car to
How
whatever
often
their
are
destination
there
is.
crashes in it? Because I know NASCAR, you have crashes pretty much every race. Well, not necessarily major crashes, but
So in the races, not too many. I mean, there's little fender benders and stuff. You don't see many huge crashes. I mean, last year there were a few that were like, wow, that looks rough. But usually it's in qualifying when they're literally pushing these cars to their absolute limit, trying to get the fastest laps.
okay, makes sense.
So that's where people start crashing. But
And
yeah.
are these cars that they're making, I guess, in terms of safety, like if they're pushing it to the limit, like how much is that compromising the safety of the driver?
So they're actually very safety reliant. That is one thing.
Okay.
Is the car is built around. It's kind of like a big tub, I guess you could say, that the driver goes in, and the car is built around that. It's called a monocoque system, and so
Okay.
it's literally just one piece
Forgive
that they
me.
just. Oh no, you're
Yeah, I'm
good.
so sorry I didn't know the name of that.
But no, like literally, these drivers will hit a wall at 50 G's and get up and walk away. So yeah.
What the? So who's the GOAT? Tell me the GOATs, right? Like,
So
is it like who's the LeBron? Who's like the coaching staff would be the engineers? Like, who is?
yeah. So currently you.
He said LeBron. He
I
had to
know,
say
I heard
LeBron.
that. I caught that. But currently you have Lewis Hamilton. He's been
Okay.
racing for years. A lot of people know the name, just don't know where from. But he's won 7 world championships, which is a record right now. He's tied with a guy from Germany back in 2006, Michael Schumacher.
I think I heard that name. Yeah.
So
They're
so
both
basically you have
they're both
Schumacher as
legends.
Jordan, the GOAT, and then you have Hamilton trying to pass him at like LeBron to become the GOAT. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
But yeah, Lewis Hamilton, he drives for Mercedes. He's been driving for Mercedes for a while now. He's definitely up there. So,
And how
but
about the teams? Who's like
it's
the
all
team you want to be on?
the
Ferrari.
team for the past 8 years. Mercedes has won the constructors title, like the car title. They've scored the most points
Wow.
with their car.
Who
But
won it last year? Was it Hamilton or did he get beat out by the other person?
no, he got beat by Max Verstappen for Red Bull.
Okay,
And so, but
that's right.
Mercedes still won the constructor championship.
Oh
Gotcha.
man.
So yeah. So yeah, this year is exciting with Ferrari back on top.
And
They
when's the
haven't been on
next
top
race?
for a while. It's actually this Sunday. Coming up
So
Sunday.
so is it every weekend?
Not necessarily. They
Okay.
usually do every other weekend.
Okay.
I know there's 22 races this year. And
When is
the
the Monaco one? The OG, the big
It's-
race.
It's at the end of May. So
Okay.
Miami and Monaco, I think, are a week apart, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
Wow.
Yeah, they usually
Well-
do like the nice races in the summer while everybody can travel.
Yeah.
But
Because
yeah.
isn't
And
Monaco
where
when
can we
all the like
watch it?
fancy yacht people come and watch it?
Oh
and
yeah.
stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, the drivers will just pull up on a yacht and
God,
go race.
money.
So I have 2 questions. The first one is
Mhm.
how much are we getting paid for this? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's the money
Yeah.
that these drivers / teams
The
are getting?
drivers,
Because if they're building $100 million car, that means they got money.
yeah,
And they
a
can
lot
turn
of
it over
it's
like that.
a lot of the money that goes into the car comes from sponsorships. So
Okay.
like each car, you'll see like I know Ferrari is big sponsor. They have a big sponsor through Ray-Ban, like sunglasses. They're a big
Yeah.
sponsor of Ferrari, so they probably could do a big percentage of what goes into their car. And then there's other companies that do it, and but the drivers they can get paid. I know Lewis Hamilton, he gets paid $40 million a year, which I mean is a lot, but when you think about it, when you're driving $100 million car.
That's more. That's
That's-
more than most pro athletes in America.
Is it? I don't know. the
it's not
salary.
much.
Is it
It's not
a year, or is that the total
40.
contract?
No, $40 million a year, and he's in a contract till 2025 right now, I think.
Wow, I need to get into F1. Okay.
Yeah, well, but some drivers only get paid
Yeah,
$1 million a year.
the top ones.
Yeah.
But
Like
still, so
towards the lower end drivers, they get about $1 million to $4 million.
I can deal with that. I can deal with that. That's
I have
fine.
10 cents to my name right now. I'm not going to be a beggar on this one.
I can deal with that. Wow, that
But
That's crazy.
So where could we watch it? Just so
Yeah.
we could all.
Oh, it's
stay
on
tuned with that.
ESPN. Yeah, it's on
Okay.
ESPN. Yeah, it's
ESPN.
usually like ESPN 2 or 3, just because it's international. But
So do you think it's going to be like front ESPN when it's in America, like when it's in Miami and stuff? Do you think they're going to try to make it a little bigger, or still?
I would hope so. I mean, it is on Sunday, so like most American sports are on Sundays. So, but I would hope they would at least try.
They can put it over the Falcons game. We won't be good. It's fine.
Or the Hawks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Woody's trying me, so that we're going to get into that a bit later. But wow, I
Greg,
really appreciate you coming
I
on, though,
love you,
Greg.
brother. This was
Yes,
sick.
I love
Yeah,
this.
there was
Yeah.
so much that I did not know, and we just getting started. I'm sure we're going to have you back on to talk more in depth about it at a later date, especially once me and Woody
Yeah.
actually start watching some races and get our own feel and maybe pick our own favorite team and drivers, just so we can kind of banter back and forth, such as LeBron and the GOAT, that guy.
Greg, he's starting
Yeah.
something. I love
know.
you, brother.
I know.
I love you, man. This
I feel
was.
like
I want everyone to leave in the comments how much we appreciate Greg.
Yeah.
And how much, like, if you have any questions, we're gonna send it to him and we're gonna respond on behalf of him. So he's always gonna be around. He's gonna be watching it. Greg, love you, brother. Enjoy
Thank
the
you
rest
so
of your
much,
night,
man.
You
boss.
too, man. Yeah, I loved it. I'll see y'all.
See ya.
Peace. So, Brandon,
Wow.
that was amazing. But I felt a little hostility between.
Listen, you started it. You started it. But before we get to basketball, let's do a little quick. Let's talk about a couple other things, because we got a little crybaby in the world right now over in the NFL. Whether it be him, his agent, whatnot, Kyler Murray's holding out apparently.
Yeah.
Do you think this is a big deal? Do you think he's going to get traded or what?
He needs to stop. He's not that guy. You just made it. You had one good season. Yes, you incrementally got better over the last 3 years. I think he's been in the league.
Yeah.
3 years. You went 11-6.
Yeah, but you collapsed. I mean, it was a collapse.
And DeAndre Hopkins went out and you did nothing. Granted, he was hurt, but also, and like, I think it all collapsed after that Packers game. But you're not that guy to be like, I'm gonna hold out and I'm gonna care. Like,
yeah,
you're not.
until you've proven yourself in the playoffs, I don't think a holdout's reasonable. I've seen so many things of, like, at this point, like 10 teams that he might get traded to and whatnot. And I'm just like, he's a good quarterback, but you got to prove yourself. So I think we're, very much.
The only
agreed
thing
to
I
that.
will say is it depends on how the organization's treating him, because I know
That's true too.
that's a whole other aspect. They came out saying that he was being a crybaby before, just because of the year he was trying to get his money. So, I mean, if he's felt wrong, then everything we're saying is kind of, I feel like we're on the same page, eye to eye on that one. But we're gonna get into basketball. I'm so excited, but I want to get some digs at you for Champions League. Can I? Do I have your permission?
I don't really think it matters because you're going to give them to me.
I'm going to. Remember
yeah.
that one time you were up like $40 on me, and it feels like everything is starting to go my way now. And it started with our brackets for March Madness.
I'm just going to look away. Can't look at you in the eye right now.
I think it was $30 actually, because it was March Madness. And then next thing you know, you're like $10. Chelsea's going to win it. They're down 3-1 in aggregate. They're going to win this thing. And I won't lie to you, I peed my pants a couple times.
They had it. They were up 3-0.
They were up 3-0. They had that Xavi Alonso goal. I don't know what happened, but Benzema came in at the end, won us the game. Los Blancos.
Congrats. You're closing back into the $0 mark right now.
Yeah. Breaking even, baby.
Wow. I mean, as a soccer fan, great game. But as a not wanting Madrid to advance person, it hurt me.
It was rough.
Yeah.
I will have to say it was rough.
I mean, you had the game. Let's just be real. They had it. Like, I was prepared to text you. Like, I was so hyped. And then I saw that. I was like, okay, we're going to extra time. And then I was like, Benzema has the ball. We're screwed. But it is what it is. And I am so happy that it was at least a good game and not a blowout by either way. And that, honestly, all the games of that round were good. You were also right about Villarreal, which I was surprised
I can't believe that one. I said out of my butt.
Yeah, that one was solid. But then the other two teams that we kind of knew, Liverpool and Man City, advanced. So we have Man City now versus Madrid, which is going to be a very good um game, like 2 games in my opinion. I mean, I'm very kind of shocked at what's going to happen for it, but I can't wait at the same time.
I think games are in 2 weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks from now, and then the other one is Liverpool versus Villarreal, and I think we'll talk more about this in the upcoming pods. Maybe we can once we look more into it. We don't want to rush our picks, especially me, because I would like to make some money back. So I would like to take some time to think this over, figure out who I truly think is going to win. But I think unless you want to talk a little more about your little Madrid team beating me, I think we should get down into this
Let's just get
playoff.
into it.
Let's get
Let's
into
just-
the playoff madness.
Let's freaking do it because. Well, before we
Wow.
get there, I want to shout out someone. I
Okay.
want to shout out 2 people.
Yeah.
First of all,
Yeah.
Brandon, I want to shout out you because last week we were talking all the regular season awards, defensive player of the year. I forgot who you said. I think you said, who did you say again?
My person didn't win, so don't worry about it.
But all I remember is I said
Wow.
Marcus Smart.
Yes, you said
And
Marcus
it shocked
Smart.
the heck out of you, and it shocked the heck out of one of our fans, Peter. And you messaged Jared Jackson. Very valid. And I think we shouted him out in that. We're like, whoever's that guy from Memphis. Like, we couldn't think
Yeah,
of his
yeah.
name, but we said it. But there was something about Marcus Smart. He just literally, I think an hour ago, maybe 2,
Yeah,
came
yeah.
out one defensive player of the year.
Which I mean,
I
you
had a
texted
hunch.
me, and I was like, "Wow, that's I mean, it's big." Because Peter had my Mikal Bridges, who's
Mikal Bridges.
who is a finalist,
Yes.
and I, at that point, I was like, one of y'all is gonna be right, but literally when I saw it was Marcus Smart, I was like, "Wow, Wadid had some sixth sense, called it." And congrats, because I mean that's a solid.
Shocked the
That's a solid.
heck out of me.
That's a solid.
I wish we put money on that. I
Yeah.
really wish we put money
That's a
on
solid surprise, but congrats on that, my brother. You did good. Hopefully, we'll see where the other awards come as the playoffs go on. But let's get down to it because the playing round happened, and we're already at this point. Has been happened, or sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Playing round happened already this weekend, and we're already in game 2's some series right now
that.
happening.
Got it on behind my screen.
Yep, same. I got it right over here. But so let's talk quickly. Playing around tournaments. Congrats to my Hawks. You guys did great. You're in playoffs. Congrats to the Nets as well. Unfortunately, I was wrong about that one, but at the same time, we kind of saw it coming.
Yep.
And then we were a little shocked though. We were right on Minnesota, but then Clippers losing Paul George was bigger than we thought, and the Pelicans have shocked the world and made it to the playoffs.
Shocked.
But I did say that Minnesota probably could take the 7th seed, so I was right on that one. But then I did not expect the Pelicans to win 2 games.
That was. And Paul George, yes, but still,
but
still.
So I mean, and unfortunately for them, they're now playing the Suns. I think the series is going to be over very fast, in my opinion. I don't know about you, but I could see it going 4 games, but maybe 5. Because Chris Paul last night took over that game of the 4 to close it out, which, I mean, he wants his ring, and he's put when he's ready to put the team on the back, he will, but he doesn't have to. He has other shooters. So, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I see this being a sweep, unfortunately,
yeah.
and I hate to say it. I wish I would prefer gentlemen sweeps, but I mean, yeah. Thank God they got there.
Yeah,
they're at least in the dance.
They might get lucky 1 game at home, but I mean I see it pretty much the same as you. I think 4-game sweep is going to end up being the case, but maybe they'll take a game off. But I think the Suns are going to go next round easy, no matter what.
Yeah. And the next one that has a similar vibe, at least to me, I'm curious what you think, is Philly Toronto, and I guess maybe going into it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
But with everything coming out from now, what are your thoughts on it?
I think we're a little different on this one. I mean, that game right now is on both our TVs, and right now Philly's up by 11 and halfway through the 4th, so they're probably going to go up 2-0 in this game. But at the same time, I can't remember who from Philadelphia can't play in Toronto.
Tyrese Maxey.
That's right. I think that's going to be.
Have you seen the things people have been saying about him?
Yeah.
Because he took one. He took one of the.
I know. But so I think the series is gonna be longer than you think, just because of him not being able to play in Toronto. I honestly didn't expect Toronto to go down as bad as they did game one. And if they can make a comeback in this game, they're down 14, but at the same time, like there's still just enough time where they could make a run. But let's say they go down 2-0. I think they win at least one at home. I'm thinking this game probably goes 5 or 6 with Philly winning right now. I don't see a sweep at all. I'll be honest. That much I don't see.
I see a gentleman sweep.
Okay.
At least I see this gentleman sweep. And the reason why is, yes, I'm completely valid that Maxi won't be able to play in Toronto. Completely get that. But you have several key players for the Raptors, because they're not like
That is true.
the Sixers with like Joel Embiid and James Harden. You don't need really anyone else. They have a bunch of great players that if like a few of them are out, you lose some of that chemistry. It hurts the team more.
If
Versus
Barnes can't play from his injury in game one, if he can't play in game 3 and 4, it will be over very fast. That I did forget about Barnes being injured.
But say, for example, these guys are able to come back. The reason why I don't see them stopping is because Philly right now is just getting momentum. Philly's learning how to play with each other. I know that sounds weird.
It does.
This team, the way they ended the regular season, I think is the most disappointing I've ever seen. After the trading deadline, it was just embarrassing. So I'm hoping James Harden kind of gets it together. Do I believe he will? Honestly, no. At least that's a me thing. But I feel like at some point, Joel Embiid is going to have, Toronto's going to have to look at it and be like, it's either this guy's going to have to get 50 points and we lock down everyone else, or we lock down everyone else and leave Embiid.
Yeah.
Or lock down Embiid and hope everyone else. Like, I just don't see how they can do that.
I think they make it out as well. But, I mean, like you said, injuries play a big part, and that's unfortunate just because Barnes is doing good. Hopefully he can be back for game 3 and at least 4, if not 3. I would love them to take the 6 or 7 games just to make Philly a little more tired, like just to kind of wear them out.
Oh, yeah.
Because that takes us into another series, which is still, in my opinion, affected by injuries. The Bulls and Bucks, not on the Bucks part, but the Bulls. The Bulls have declined rapidly.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, because when we talked way back on pod 2 or 3, maybe, I had the Bucks and Bulls in my final 4 basically for the NBA, and clearly that cannot happen now. And I think we're going to revisit the picks as a whole.
We're gonna have to.
We'll wait till next round. Maybe we can wait till next round.
Yeah.
Or maybe next week. We'll just kind of see how the game's going. So maybe next round, either one. But I think the series originally, if they had played in the final 4, would have been a great series if everyone had been healthy. But because of how it is, I think the Bucks are going to take this one fairly easy.
I think so too.
The first game was closer than I thought, but at the same time, neither team had really played in a week. It was kind of like, we're both well rested. But I never thought it was out of like the Bucks' control. It was pretty much their game the whole time. So
I feel like the first 3 games that we've talked about have all the same type of energy of just like, this is the team that should win.
Yeah.
Because of injury, because of the Pelicans being the Pelicans, and they just have that vibe. But I want you to really give it to us.
So
is this what's going on with Atlanta, Miami right now? So Miami took game 1.
This series could have the same potential depending on who looks at it as the first 3 just mentioned. You could just say Miami runs away with being the 8 seed. I mean, the 1 seed, and the Hawks being the 8 seed. But not just as a Hawks fan, but yes, as a Hawks fan, I'm biased. I like the matchup still. The problem is that Capella getting hurt in the second play-in game against the Bulls, not the Bulls, but the Cavaliers, really hurts the Hawks. Hopefully he can come back game 4 at the latest, which is where he most likely would come back. And at that point, hopefully we're not down 3-0. But John Collins came back, played his first game in game 1 against the Heat in like, I don't know, since the All-Star break, I think, basically. So if he's able to get back to playing how he was at a very rapid pace, then this series is going to get interesting. Game 1, it sucks because you just played 2 games in you played in Atlanta on Wednesday, you played in Cleveland on Friday, and then you had to come play in Miami on Sunday. So a lot of flying, a lot of games while Miami was just sitting on their feet at the beach.
Yeah.
Miami should never have lost game one. It's the same as the Suns. Never should have lost that game because you've had a week off because he seems to have had to win games. I still think the Hawks could have a very fair chance to upset. Yes, I'm biased on that one, but Trae Young is different in the playoffs. He had a horrendous game in game one, shot 1 for 12 from the field, didn't make a single three, but he's not going to do that every game. And if he does, we've lost 100%. But if Trae Young can just take over a game, as he showed just in a second half against like Cleveland, game changer. I mean, the man put up 32 points and a half. So if he can just take over a game, if they can win game two and go back to Atlanta tied 1-1, this whole series changes because you're for sure going to go back to at least for a game five in Miami, and you hopefully have Clint Capella back. And if you can then, split again in Atlanta, that it gets spicy then. Comes a best of three.
And I was gonna say, out of the biased opinion, because I'm from DC, I don't, not that I don't care about the Hawks or but
you care way less.
My Pistons aren't in it, my Wizards aren't in it. I'm good. But I really think like what is really going to decide this series for me is the timetable for Clint Capella.
Yeah.
Because realistically, I still think the Hawks, this is not going to be a sweep. This will not be a sweep without Capella. For the Hawks, they could steal a game. And I honestly think it won't. I think the way the series is going to go, they're going to win two. The Miami's going to win the first two. The Hawks are going to win the second two. It's just going to be a straight up split. And then it's just going to be best of three series from that point, like you said.
Listen, I'll take that. I also would love
Capella comes back into that, then I see the Hawks winning. If he does it, I see Miami winning. But I see this going 6 or 7 games.
I would love to I'm going to stick to my gut and that I said to my buddy earlier when we first made a post. I said Hawks in 6 before Capella got hurt. It's a lot more risky now, but I would love to still see it just because. But yeah,
Miami just is up and down, so you just don't know.
They're so good defensively, but at the same time, Trae Young, he's had his game. He's watched his tape to see how you played him defensively, and now he's going to change it. So
and this is a story of the playoffs. And as we kind of go into the rest of the game,
he likes being
these young players.
He likes
these young players are ready, and Trae Young has proven it. He loves to go to
your city and become mayor.
Mayor. That's a nice way of what I would have said.
The man got a vote for New York mayor in their last election. Like,
have you seen NYC Side Talks, by the way?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I when I'm having a bad day, I look at the one that did for Trae Young because like, wow. Yeah. No, but you're so right. He's proven it. A lot of young guys already have proven something, but Trae Young was like the first to kind of get us into. I would say it goes Luka and Trae prove something, and now everyone's catching up.
Yeah.
So Trae, we put this out there, bring it game 2. Maybe we could still win. We could still win.
And this brings to some more not so young superstars, but also young superstars still in the Jazz and Mavericks. Luke is out. He's out for game 2 still. Donovan Mitchell, if he takes over again, they go up 2-0. If Luka doesn't come back into this series, I see this as a sweep. And I thought this series was originally going to be a good one. But without Luka in, I just don't think the Mavs can do
it. I think Luka not in it, it's still a gentleman's sweep.
Okay. That's fair.
I think something about, because they're playing currently right now on NBA TV, 55-48 and a half.
Who's winning?
The Jazz.
Okay. Only down by 7.
Realistically, without Luka, this should not be a game at all. Like, probably we finish this pod and you're going to watch the game and be like,
the Jazz barely won game 1 also. It was not that big of a deal. Like,
Luka would win those 2 games. 100%.
100%.
This is a reflection of a bad Jazz team, not a Luka-less Mavericks team.
Yeah.
That's what this is telling me. If he comes back, they win this.
That's what I'm saying. They win. It all depends when he can come back. If he comes back in game 4 and they're down 3-0, I don't think they can win 4 straight though.
It depends on how the Jazz win game 3.
That's true. I think that Luca has to come back and it'd be a 2-1 lead for Jazz. If they're up 3-0 though, I just think it's going to be too much to win 4 straight, especially being 3 at
That's very fair. That's
because you have
very
to win
fair.
2 at the Jazz as well. That's the other thing to win the like. But
It'll be a 2-2 split. Yeah.
yeah, it's hard to win 4 straight no matter what.
You're right. You're right. I just think this is this Jazz team that always I feel like is in the playoffs. They might have to change things up at the end of the season if
Yeah.
they lose this
Yeah,
or next
it's
round.
going to be interesting because I'm sure we'll talk plenty about that. Of do you keep Rudy Gobert, or
Rudy
do you
Gobert,
keep Donovan Mitchell? Which one do you keep?
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that plenty in the offseason, especially if they go out early.
But I mean, like you even mentioned it. This from Trae Young to Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic. Let's get into some other young guys against the older guys. Can
Jason Tatum. Let's go to Jason Tatum because say what you want.
I was driving. I was
know you were.
driving in the car. Shout out Yara, because me and her were driving, and we were stuck in traffic. The roads closed down, whatever. And I was like, I'm gonna just put on the game. 1:04 left in the fourth quarter. That's all I needed to see. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't even have to watch anything. I called you. I said, Kyrie's having the game. And the defense for the Nets broke down. And you could just tell that KD wasn't having a good game because on that last play, he just gave up. He was tracking Tatum. He just gave up. This is going to be
this series is going to be crazy. And I mean, I texted you after it. I was like, oh my God, what? Because my buddy Steven was in town for this weekend, and me and him went waiting for some friends at a hookah lounge. We were waiting. We were watching the games. They couldn't get it to pull up on the big screen, so we both had our phones out, and we're just sitting there. And I was like, Steven, this was about with 5 minutes left in the fourth. I was like, I need Tatum to get 1 assist, 1 rebound, or score another bucket, because I had his over of 31.5 points.
Okay.
Rebounds, or 41.5 points, rebounds, and assists total. And he had been sitting at 41 for forever in the whole fourth. And I was like, I just need him to do anything, and we're good. And I'm sitting there getting stressed because I'm watching the game. No one's passing the ball. He's not grabbing rebounds, nothing. And I'm like, Steven, they might lose the game, and I'm going to lose this bet because my other side had hit easy. Everything of my bet was hitting, and I was like, I just need anything. And we're sitting there, and Tatum, the last play comes in, and he's Steven's about 2-3 seconds ahead of me. So he sees it's Tatum, and he starts freaking out. And I was like, did they win? And he's like, you won also. And I was ecstatic because I knew that means Tatum hit the shot. I hit my money. And I was like, this series is going to go to the wire. I thought overtime might have been coming to that game.
I thought, yeah.
I see this series going 7 games. I think it's going to be great. As long as no one gets hurt, this could be one of the best series. It's unfortunate it's first round. It's unfortunate it's first round.
I think Stephen A said this and a few other people. Both of these teams have the potential to win the chip or lose it in the first round. And it just turns out they're playing each other. But something is in me is telling me that Kyrie's not going to be able to keep this up.
I feel like Kyrie.
I don't think so.
Slowly but surely, he's having too much to do, plus to deal with all these fans. He's making too much of a deal out of these fans. I get you make a shot and then you double bird the fans behind your head. Okay, buddy,
get over yourself. Calm down.
It's the playoffs. I get it, but at the same time, I just feel like it's going to become too much for him. And KD's going to take over at some point. Yes.
I think he's going to have a huge game too.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have
so too.
Massive.
But also as Marcus Smart becomes defensive player of the year, I think that he might put on clamps in game 2. He might be like, let me just show you what this award I won. Let me just show you why
he's going to play he's going to do that to Kyrie. And I think Kyrie and him are going to push each other, shove each other.
And that's it. Tatum and KD, though, we're going back. It was a very physical game. I know you didn't watch most of it, but from what I was watching.
It seems like that's what got KD messed up because he was I was playing too fast. They got into his head.
Yeah.
So, that's what that tells me.
Now, as someone who you have your Nets going all the way, Nets or Celtics, who do you have? Because let's be real, this is what matters. Stop thinking.
I still have my Nets.
Okay.
I still have my Nets.
7? Six?
Would I be upset if Boston wins? No,
Okay.
like not at all. Like if I was to lose money, I want it to be because Boston's a great team.
And how many games
I-
go? 7? You think 7?
I feel like 6.
Okay.
I feel like whoever takes games 5 is going to win it
That's fair.
because it's just going to be too much.
I think Celtics can 7. I think it's going to go the distance, and I think Celtics will. Having home court advantage will just be enough.
I think it's going to be I think it's going to be Brooklyn in 6
Okay.
because that means
That's-
they won game 5 in Boston and
Yeah.
then they came back home and closed it out. But I mean,
It goes
you're
either way.
literally facing Kyrie and KD over here is like the older version of Tatum and Brown. Like that's to me what's
Yeah.
happening. 2 scores, 2 lengthy people, except for Kyrie. But Kyrie just does so much. He just needs to calm down because it's not like a random stadium that you're going to. You're going to the old team that you said that you're going to stay a long time if you have me, and then you dip the minute you could. You also
Yeah.
made the team worse. Like people are going to get at you, but also calm down, buddy. Like double bird, whatever. But don't go into your post game interview being rude to the reporter and just being like, "I don't back down." Well, people riot at the Capitol, and then you take a year off of that. So like,
Yeah.
what are you? You're not hard,
And,
but like
yeah.
you're not soft.
And
either.
it's
I
going to
don't
be
get it.
interesting because if somehow Toronto can end up winning and the Nets do, they have to go to Toronto, which I don't think will matter too much, but Kyrie can't play in Toronto. No, that's the other
Yeah.
side, my bet. Well, they later on, if it got to that point. But either way, let's talk about though. I mean, that series we could talk
This
about
show-
all day.
And then this, I think, was like the same energy on the West.
Yeah.
The same exact energy.
Talk about 2 young superstars that are going to be faces of their teams for a long time.
I love this.
Timberwolves
I
versus
love
Memphis Grizzlies. I hope this series goes 7 games because I want to see Ant-Man against Jaw back and forth. Game 1, game. Wow. When I was watching this game, you called me right afterwards to ask me what happened, and I said I'm speechless, and I told you what happened, and you just went, "Wow." That was
Yeah.
how your reply was, and that was just game 1. I'm so pumped for this.
I think my
series.
next sentence too was like, just from what you said, this has the potential to be Jamal Murray, Donovan Mitchell last year or
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
This is the same energy.
I love it.
mean,
I want to see how game 2 goes, but I could see the Timberwolves making this upset.
this series is about matchups and who's going to adjust more. Memphis is going to have to adjust because
Yeah.
they have the matchups are not in their favor. But I mean, the Timberwolves.
That's what's
Can
interesting.
Ant-Man carry them that far? Because that's what it's going to have to take. Even if
both
Memphis
two-
get their
both
stuff
two
together.
set both 2 and 7 matchups. If the 7s win, it's an upset, but it's not really an upset in my opinion,
Right.
which is what
Yeah.
I find so fascinating. But I can't wait for these. For
What do
that
you have
series.
it at? What do you have this at?
I wanted to go 7, but I think it's going to go 6.
Okay.
I would love it to go 7, but I think if Memphis wins, it's in 6. If the Timberwolves win, it's in 7.
Yeah, I see this going 6. I'll say I'll give this one the 7. You can't have every series, right? But I said 6
can't.
on the last one, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
have 7 on this
That's
one.
fair.
But I mean, these 2 teams are identical almost. It feels like
Yeah.
they have the big man, they have the middle guy, the
I think
small
what's
guy
going
face of
to
the
become
team.
what's going to be a big deal is if Steven Adams can score, because we talked about his stats earlier off the pod. Just when I was telling you, he played so many minutes and had barely an impact, and I think that's just going to be a big
What
deal.
was it?
in my-
24 minutes, a point or
No,
something?
0
and-
points, 3
Okay.
rebounds, 2 assists, or something like that. Maybe 4 rebounds, 3 assists, but like point differential -13 while he was on the zero across the boards. It felt like so. And that's
This is going to be
yeah.
they're going to have to adjust because Cat's going to make him stretch. That's the issue.
Yeah.
That's why I think this match, Cat's going to make him stretch. He's the number 2 guy on that team, really, maybe 3 because of D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah,
But I mean,
that's the other thing.
Memphis
DeAndre
should
Russell,
win this game.
Russell is kind of like low key. He could turn up at any moment. So
He goes ice in the veins, ice in the veins.
speaking
This
of
is
people with
great.
ice in their veins, though, because
No.
Okay,
No.
you wanna
Let me
start?
have my moment. Please, thank you. I want it.
have at it.
Remember that one time? I think it was like 3-4 weeks ago, and I was like, the Nuggets won't make it out of the first round.
Yeah, I recall when you said that.
I I'm like surprised because I feel like this shouldn't have happened, but like, let's just get into it.
Yeah.
Jordan Poole. He might not be on the same level as the guys we've been talking about, but this guy is there. He is here. He is not afraid. I did not see that type of performance coming at all.
Nope.
I really thought Nuggets are going to take a game one, and then when Steph Curry gets back, he's going to
That's
be
the thing.
fine.
Steph Curry coming back is a game changer. Not just because of who he
Huge.
is, but because of how much you have to put. It's like KD coming back, or it's like, these big name players coming back. You have to. It
You
puts
have to have
pressure.
someone
Yeah.
there.
So, wow. I won't lie. I'm a bit more nervous. I still believe my Nuggets can pull it off, mainly because I don't want to lose more money.
This one will just break even. This
Yeah.
one will be
Yeah, I know, but
even before. Yeah,
I hope the series becomes a good one because I don't want to see blowouts. I just don't want to see blowouts. Like, especially with the Joker being an MVP candidate, could go back to back. Like,
yeah.
he's got to put it on his back. And if he can, though, anything's possible. Because if he starts putting up these, like, triple doubles as he can, it's going to get really interesting real fast. Because Jordan Poole is not going to go off for 30 every game.
Right. But I mean, Steph could, and
But
he only
Steph
came
could.
off the bench. That's
Yes.
what's scary.
Yeah,
That's to
That's the
me.
scary part.
They did not need Steph to play. That to me.
But I think if Steph hadn't played, though, it's a lot easier to defend Jordan Poole. But with Steph, Clay, and Jordan Poole, with how hot he was in that game, all on the court together, you're trying to defend both Splash Bros plus mini Splash Bro over there at that point. Like, it's
he's
a scary.
shooting from anywhere. It's like three guys.
So we'll see if he can keep hot, though. It might be over real fast for my.
So
Nuggets.
You see this going what, 6?
I think 6. Yeah.
6 to who? You're gonna stick with the Nuggets?
I have to stick with Nuggets. I must.
I see this going 5.
This is the other thing. It all depends.
Go.
If Nuggets can get a couple, I know one of their players will not come. Murray will not come back, but I know Porter Jr. is talking about he's feeling great. There's a possibility he can come back for Game 3.
But he's been possibly coming back since last year.
Exactly. So possibly if he comes back, it changes things. Just because he is a good defensive player, he can help Joker out. But if Murray was in this game, this series, though, it would be so much different. I was really hoping Murray would come back, but it is what it is.
And yeah, I see this going 5.
Yeah,
to Golden State.
I
But
figured you did.
I mean, it's still going to be a great series. I don't think it's going to be one of those sweeps where it's a blowout each game. I think it's going to be one of those gentleman sweeps where it's like it's so close every game. And I think each game we're going to be in for a treat. They play at 10 o'clock tonight, so everyone stay tuned. And me and you, just to run through it, we see the Suns being a sweep.
Yeah.
We see Toronto being a sweep.
Gentleman's sweep, probably.
Gentleman sweep. Okay. The Bucks sweeping.
Sweep / gentleman. It could be 4 or 5.
Okay.
Yeah. Miami,
Hawks
Atlanta.
Miami.
That's a toss up. Hopefully Hawks. But
we're gonna keep the energy up.
Yeah.
Hawks in 6.
Yeah, has to be Hawks. Hawks in 6. I love it.
Hawks in 6.
Jazz.
This one is TBD.
Yeah.
When does Luka come back? That's all I have to ask.
Yeah, that's fair. Net Celtics 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Wolves Memphis 6 or 7. 7.
Yeah.
Hopefully 7, and then Golden State Nuggets 5, possibly 6.
5, possibly 6.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna write these down. We're gonna put them in somewhere, and we're gonna show it to you guys. First round predictions, but we just did that thing, and so much love to Greg for just joining us. And
I would
love
to thank Greg again. I would hopefully we'll have him on sooner than later to talk a little more in depth once we get to know the sport, like I said,
right.
And maybe we can have a little more in depth questions because I know he'd be more than happy to join us. I'm sure.
Oh my gosh! It seemed like he had so much more that he wanted
to say.
But he's like, I need to get these 2 idiots in front of me on my level, and then we could do this.
I think Greg could have talked for a whole hour. I think.
Right.
But that's what I love about him also. So
if you guys have questions, comment it. We're gonna send it to him. He's gonna see these. He watches it more than probably we do, the podcast. He might even comment directly on yours.
Yeah, who knows? One way to find out.
Terry and Jerry, we fired them. And Greg, if you're looking for a job, you got it, buddy. Let's just say that.
You'll be more than an intern though. We'll pay you.
We'll pay. I have 10 cents. You want a penny a pod?
It's to work your way up to 40 million a year, Greg.
You know what? That's it. Well,
till
next
next
week, buddy.
Yeah.
Everyone keep on the lookout. We might throw in a few surprise, reactions of games. So
Yeah, who knows?
we'll see you guys next week.
Adios.